Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the AZ UFO show right here on Spaced Out Radio and blogtalkradio.com. I'm your host, Richard Giordano. Yes, that's right. No intro music tonight. Why? Because we had a power failure at the house. Yes, the aliens let me take that back. The mean aliens are trying everything they can to stop me from doing this show. Just like last week. Same thing. Couldn't log in. Blog Talk Radio. Wouldn't work. But here we are. On my cell phone. Luckily, I'm here. Yes. Anyway, it's Sunday, August 16th, and I do want to thank all of you for visiting me here. I will eventually get that chat room up and running here in a few moments as I restart everything. Power is back up. There was a power failure just moments before the show started. So I will get everything back up and running. But hey, that's the AZ UFO show. We're resilient. Do you know the AZ UFO show has been around since 2006? That's right. We are one of the oldest online paranormal shows on the internet. Pretty amazing stuff when you think about it. Almost 10 years. Almost 10 years. 10 years it'll be in February. That's right, February of 2016. Something I am very proud of. Even though I took a year off here and there, the show is still rolling on, and I do want to thank the thousands of you for downloading the show every month. Yes, I did say thousands, not the 10, not the hundreds, but thousands of you. I always get amazed when I see people downloading the show. And for some reason, lately, the show is just really banging, and I wanted to thank you all for participating and keeping me resilient as well. Because there are many times where I get frustrated with ufology. There are many times where I get frustrated with the paranormal. There are many times where I get frustrated with you, the listener. There are many times where I'm frustrated with me, and I don't want to do the show. Yeah, I know. I'm acting like a bad actor. Here's my impersonation of somebody who shouldn't be doing the show. Here's what their show would sound like, and then we'll get to the show. Hi, welcome to the AZ UFO show, and I'm your host, Rich. And thank you for coming to the show. Tonight we're going to talk about aliens, and we're going to discuss how we do this here. Oh, I can't figure this out. Oh, okay, here it is. We are going to discuss why aliens exist in our mind. We are going to discuss. We have a show tonight that's going to discuss why aliens are here. Are they here? And are they here? Is the question. It's hard for me even doing a bad show. Hey, I'm not perfect. There's a lot of people who hate me who say, Rich, you talk too much about yourself. Rich, you talk too much about yourself. Rich, you talk way too much about yourself. Well, I never said I didn't. The show is about me. It's about my experiences. It's about sharing with you the things that I find interesting in ufology and the things that nobody else will discuss, which is what made this show as popular as it is. Nobody talks about the things that I talk about. Nobody will ever say that Stanton Friedman is let's just say Stanton Friedman is Stanton Friedman. No, nobody's going to talk about the hoaxers like I do. Nobody's going to talk about Jaime Maussan's of the world or the MUFONs that are just ruining people's lives by calling fake stuff real. And that brings me to a very strong point that tonight's show is going to evolve around and revolve around. Yes, that's right, folks. Revolve around and evolve around. I heard what I said. I'm very frustrated because I think ufology has peaked. As far as learning anything new, other than you have never seen anything like this before, or you're new to ufology, or you just saw something. I mean, I get that part of it where there's new people every day coming into ufology. But for people who've been in the field like I have for a decade, or people who've been in it for their whole lives, the internet has ruined ufology to a point where it can't evolve anymore. It's actually devolving. It's devolving. It's going backwards. Because now, remember like a few years ago, and I remember this because I've been on the internet doing this show, and even back then the show was popular. We would have a ton of people in the chat room. Internet radio was new. There wasn't a lot of live platforms like this, and there wasn't a lot of websites out there doing what we do. But now there are a dime a dozen. You got people who post fake stuff just to get popularity because it looks real. And the sad thing about it is ufology can't push forward anymore. It can't. It's peaked in progress. I mean, how much evidence can we find before we can say that the aliens are here? UFO videos, they're all over the internet, but what's real? What's fake? That's the problem. That's the problem. We don't know. Well, unless you're a video expert like I am, or you've been in the field long enough to know, it's just a topic that is just, well, flooded with bullcrap. You got too many shows on TV, you got too many websites, you got too many people trying to make a buck, and there's no reason. You're not going to make any money in ufology anyway, as I've been saying for years. And those people who are trying to make a buck, like Third Phase of Moon, and now I hate saying that name, but those people are only in this field to trick you and to make you think that what you're seeing is real. Everything out there is a question mark. Ufology can't evolve. Remember back, well, when you first got into this, if you did your research the right way, you would have went back into the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, 70s. You would have seen what life was like before the internet came around. And you would have seen how research was done painstakingly, step by step, by mail, by phone. I mean, people actually had to travel to go to where the evidence is. I mean, that's the only way to get real evidence anyway, is to travel to go see it. But now people have their cell phones that you can just click and take a picture and send it to somebody. It's very frustrating. Very frustrating. There's some pictures that couldn't have been faked back in the 40s and 50s of real UFOs. Now we have video technology, and it's degrading everything. The technology has ruined ufology. It really has. Tell me I'm wrong. I dare you. Because it's so easy to fake some things. Okay, today I was on Facebook just looking for some interesting news, and I came across a phone video, which I hate, but this is the way it's done. There was a video from Mexico that showed probably 100 to 200 white dots in the sky. And I've seen these. We call them fleets. Anytime you have more than one object or more than two, it's a fleet of whatever. A fleet of geese, a fleet of birds, a fleet of balloons, a fleet of whatever. More than one means fleet in ufology. So there are these objects in the sky, and the first thing you're going to look for is to see if they look like balloons. The next thing you're going to look for is to see if they look like birds. And neither one of them did, in my opinion. There was no flapping of the wings. The objects were wobbling side to side. Like when they were moving from left to right, they were moving, but they were also wobbling back and forth, left to right. It was like they were just wobbling. And some of them would move backwards, then move forward. So I pick one of these white dots, and I follow it. And as bad as the filming was, because the guy couldn't stand still, I was able to follow one of these dots and watch it meander through the crowd of white dots. Pretty cool. But I'm thinking, it's a video. It could be fake. Could easily be fake. I could be being fooled. I don't know. But there's people in the background, guys videotaping it, and it looks pretty darn good to me. It's blurry. It's a little out of focus. Sometimes he'll zoom in, but he can't zoom in on one object. He doesn't have the power on that phone to zoom in like we need. So impossibility, number one. Impossibility number two is I can't be there. Frustrating, yes. Frustrating. These are the things that are wrong with ufology. This is why ufology has peaked. Ufology is peaking because we are now lazy. We don't need to go to the location. We wouldn't have made it there anyway. This fleet thing would have been over with by the time we even thought about going there. But, yeah, ufology is falling apart. And it's getting worse because they're putting on these TV shows. Every month there's a new show coming on. It's very frustrating. You know, didn't realize I just got the, hold on, I see we have a caller and I recognize that number. I'm going to open up the chat room and then get the caller. What a frustrating day. Frustrating because these videos that I've been watching, I just want to be there. And I want to watch them, and I want to go there and see them. I haven't been going out much because I'm working 13 hours a day. I don't have time to sky watch. Not a lot of time at all. Very frustrating. I opened up the chat room. If anybody wants to join the show, you're more than welcome. And we have a caller from area code 585. You're on the Easy UFO Show?
Yes, this is Chad out of New York.
Chadwick, how you doing?
Good, man. Dude, what was your name again?
Mike DeRuki.
Oh, was it Mike? I don't recognize that name. I remember talking to you, though. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Chadwick, but you're going to have to hold on. I can't get into it. Chadwick's a caller friend of mine from a year or two ago, calls in and tells me why I need to believe in God and all this. And he believes in ufology and things like that, but I'm sorry, my friend. If you can, call back in a little while after 30 minutes or so, because I've got to get through my thing here. And then
I really just called to listen to the show. I don't believe UFOs, just for the record. I don't believe in UFOs.
You did say you said you believed in UFOs. Do I need to produce?
I believe in a demonic deception that is not UFOs in the sense that science or spacecrafts or anything like that. I think they're angels disguised.
So you're here just to listen for tonight?
Oh yeah, I really just called in. You had an interesting topic. I was going to listen, and if there was something to chime in, I was going to hit that number one and chime in.
Oh, okay. Please do. Yeah. I'll go ahead and I'll put you back on the listening booth, and then just chime in when you're ready. I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Thanks for calling in. It was a pleasure to say hello to you again. Thank you. So yeah, I mean, the UFO show has just popped up again in the last month or two. So being that we're coming back and doing the show every Sunday again and being on spacedoutradio.com, it has given me the ability to voice my opinion on things that I've been watching over the last year that has made me a frustrated person, and frustrated to the point because I'm watching these videos and I'm not really saying anything. I'm keeping out of the loop. But now that I'm back in the loop, I wanted to say, what's going on and what's wrong with ufology, because a lot of people are watching these videos, and Chadwick made an interesting point, albeit if I didn't, stop it, we would still be talking about it. But some people believe that these UFOs we're seeing are demonic, are from maybe another dimension, or they've been here the whole time. There's been a couple of videos this week that have popped up that, just like this fleet UFO video, could be something we don't understand. It could be demonic. Maybe that's what goes back to, because a lot of ancient alien theorists believe that they could be demonic. It could be angels. They could be both, because there supposedly is this war that's going on between good and evil. And I spoke about this a few shows ago, where Howard Stern, as many of you think he's very controversial, and he is, of course, but in a good way, I believe, has said he was on vacation and spoke with the devil. And he wasn't joking around. It was, if you look it up on the internet, I'm sure you could find the video where Howard Stern talks about how the devil walked up to him while he was watching the sunset and introduced himself to him and told Howard why there's this war going on between the devil and God. Because God is not the good person, the devil told him, that he's being the bad person. That devil was kicked out of heaven, supposedly, because God isn't letting anybody into heaven. The devil tells Howard this. It may be. You know what, I was thinking about that, and this is what really frustrates me to no end. Because here we are, we're this little blue dot in the middle of nowhere on the end of a what do you call it, type of arm? What is that? A spiral arm in a galaxy that is billions of miles wide and takes thousands of years to cross, and we're in the middle of nowhere. And if there is life on this earth, and supposedly there's many different stories, but it always comes back to that humans are supposedly the vessel of an alien, some sort of alien. And we're just here to learn. We're actually here to learn, but we're also here, trapped here. And our souls is what makes us human. I was watching this. I couldn't believe they were talking about it on the Ancient Aliens. It was just on this Friday they were talking about how humans really are just vessels for a soul of an alien being that is trapped here. Now, if God isn't letting anybody into heaven because he's upset with the way we are acting, well, that's humans, or is that our soul acting that way? I mean, if then that means we don't have free will. And we can go around and around in a circle, and nobody knows where it's going to stop, and nobody knows where it began. But all I know is that when I see these videos, and I can't tell if they're real or fake, then ufology has peaked and is now being degraded. And now we're going backwards. We're going to have to, what we need to do is go back and look at all those pictures, which people have done tenfold. They've looked at these photographs from the past where people weren't faking them. And there's a bunch of them that have passed the test. But nowadays, it takes a special kind of person with a special type of technology to really tell the difference between what's real and what's fake. And we can tell a lot just by watching them. Yeah, I get it. And that you can look at a video and see it's fake. Most of them you can tell, but there are a certain few, like this one today with the fleet video from Mexico. And they send up balloons. They party all the time in Mexico. They have a party if you ate well and burped perfectly. You know, they send up all these balloons. Every weekend there's a wedding. Every weekend there's a graduation. Every weekend somebody had the devil removed from their body in some sort of possession, demonic. What do they call that thing, Joe? What is that? What? No, you know where they exorcise the demon out of the body. Exorcism. Thank you. It's very frustrating. Because as a ufologist, as a person who believes himself to be a realist and somebody who really knows what's real and what's fake with very little effort, is being fooled. And I don't like it. So where do we go from here? Because now they have these TV shows that are a dime a dozen. You can turn on any channel any time of day, whether it be History Channel 1 or 2, Discovery Channel. You've got the Smithsonian Channel. You got the National Geographic Channel. You have the Disney Channel. You have Public Service Channel. You have your local channels, and they all show these videos of UFOs and flying witches, and they've got demons, as we just spoke of. We don't know what's real. It's just stories. So what do we do? You know, they say, oh, yeah. In a few years, we're going to have disclosure. We have so much evidence, so much circumstantial evidence, the same amount of evidence that should have put OJ away when he got cleared free of murder, killing 2 people because of circumstantial evidence. Not real good evidence, mind you. If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. You know how much a glove shrinks when it gets wet? Oh, no, not that glove. That glove does not shrink. What was that glove anyway? If anybody gives me the name of that glove, because that's a really good question. Hey, circumstantial evidence Now, if you want to talk about ufology and you think circumstantial evidence is good enough to say that, yeah, the aliens are here and we have disclosure coming, you know how long I've been hearing that? And I'll tell you, when Stephen Greer, I don't know, is it Stephen Greer? No, it's not Stephen Greer. He's the guy with who said the Phoenix Lights talked to him. No, one of the, Stephen Bassett, when he made the website and did all this research and says, we have enough evidence here that disclosure will be forced on our government. It ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen in our lifetime. Get over it. There's not going to be any disclosure, no matter how much you want to believe, Stephen. And the guy works so hard. It's what makes me so sad, because he works so hard for it, and it's not going to happen. It'll happen when it's supposed to happen, when it's forced to happen. It'll happen. We do this roundtable show the last Friday of every month on Spaced Out Radio, and we have 4 of us that talk with the host, and he brings up these various questions. And one of them was, do you think disclosure is going to happen in your lifetime? No. It's not going to happen. Disclosure is not going to happen in our lifetime. And then these other people saying, well, disclosure is already here. No, it's not. Well, we see these videos. No, you don't. Well, they're on you. I know they're on YouTube. Did you analyze them? Did you look at the real video? Do you know anything? How long have you held a camera? I love that question. I always ask these people, because Jaime Maussan, who I've talked about hundreds of times on my show, is the go-to guy in the world. Can you believe this? Jaime Maussan is the number 1 guy to go to in the world when it comes to UFO videos. If it looks like a duck and it acts like a duck, he'll put the duck up on the screen without any freaking proof. Oh, no, this is a UFO. You can see by the way. The guy never held a camera. He doesn't know how shit works. He doesn't know that you can be tricked by balloons, a cluster of balloons. I've been tricked. I've posted videos on the internet saying, hey, look at this. It's real. It's a real UFO. And then 3 weeks later, a month later, I'll see something in the sky that looks exactly what I saw, but yet I waited for it. And it kept getting closer and closer and closer. And the closer it got, the more in the view it came. And then, oh, my God, I can't believe this. It's an arch of balloons. It looked like a V-shaped UFO. I could have swore. I mean, this is what takes thousands of hours. I have 18,000 hours I figured out in the 10 years I've been doing this. I have more mistakes than anybody. I believe other than the people who are still holding the camera and still claiming they're videotaping UFOs. I'm going to go on tonight in this mood. So if you're not happy with it, you might want to leave, because the mood is really coming out, because I'm pissed, because it's the same thing. And I talk about it a lot. Ufology has peaked. You can't post a video on YouTube, a UFO video, and say, this is real. Even if it is real, you're going to be screwed. Once I get the website back up and going, I'm only going to take real videos and talk about them. I don't even know if they're real either. But it's not going to be like MUFON. They got that show, right? Hangar 18 or Hangar 1, whatever the frigate's called. And then they have their quote-unquote experts talking about this stuff. They never held the camera. These people know shit. I know them. I know they're not out there sky watching. But yet, you, the casual viewer, oh, look how great, look at these videos. Now, there are some real stories out there. You've got your black box recordings from airplanes. You've got police, 911 calls, people calling in about lights they've seen, and police driving out to locations where UFOs were called in and seen them. And yet, what's missing? Go ahead, let me hear you say it. What's missing? The video evidence. It's great to hear it, but man alive, do I need to see it. So frustrating to be me. It's why I quit doing this show for a year or so. It's just the same thing over and over again. But take a year off, you see a lot of people posting videos, and I've got all this anger in me, and I've got all this truth I want to speak, and people are saying, well, your videos are fake. I'm like, I don't have any fake videos, first of all. My videos that I've posted, I've told you guys, this is what it is. I thought it was this, but it come out to be this. Turned out to be this, whatever. I do have some legitimate triangle videos and some other videos that I can't explain. And one video that is probably one of the best UFO videos ever, and people are dismissing it as fake. Do you see where I'm coming from? How frustrating is it? I had an object fly by me twice, shine the light in my eyes while I'm videotaping it, and captured it, and I faked it. And that was in 2009 or somewhere in there, and I didn't even know I was out taping wind with my sister's camera. I didn't know what I was taping. It just came by. And I didn't realize it until 3 years later that I videotaped that. But the lights went out. The power went out. And when the object flew by, there was this humming noise that you can hear in the camera. And when it flew by twice, it went, I mean, if you turn the volume up, you can hear the energy of this thing that appeared right out of thin air. As it was, oh my God, it's an amazing video. It's up on one of my YouTube channels that I haven't been on, CNUFOS. Go to CNUFOs on YouTube. Pull up that video. It's called UFO Shines Light in My Eyes. I think it's still up there, but people say, oh, it's ball lightning. Yeah, ball lightning. Shine lights in my eyes. Flew over twice. See, this is the problem with ufology. As good as the video is, it's not good at all, because it's not clear, concise. It's not perfect in your face. And if it is, and if you got a video of a UFO, people are just going to say you faked it anyway. So where do we go from here? This is the problem we're having. This is the problem. All right, look, I got to take a 3-minute break, right? Isn't it that time? We take breaks now because we're with Spaced Out Radio. So I got 3 minutes here, and I'll be right back. And when we come back, we're going to talk about humanoids and Bigfoot for a minute. Be right back. Listening to the AZ UFO Show, Sunday night.
The sky is the limit on Spaced Out Radio. Hi there, this is Dave Scott, host of Spaced Out Radio. Join me live every Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. Pacific, 1 a.m. Eastern for news, reviews, and updates on what's happening in the realms of UFOs, paranormal, supernatural, conspiracy, and more. Find it all at spacedoutradio.com, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Spaced Out Radio. Listen in soon.
Hi there, this is Jim Tyson, host of Spaced Out Weekend. When you've had a busy week and you're just wanting to chill out and relax, how about listening into my show? That's right, Spaced Out Weekend. I focus on the paranormal, the arcane. I even dip into the techie side of things and much, much more. And I would love for you to come in and check it out. Remember, Spaced Out Radio goes 7 days a week. Dave Scott, Monday through Friday, and me, Jim Tyson, rolling through the weekends. I look forward to having you stop by for a listen every Saturday and Sunday night, 1 a.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Pacific, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Want to find out what's coming up on the Spaced Out Radio Network? Go to spacedoutradio.com, where you can find our daily list of shows and guests appearing throughout the week. Want to tell us your story? Be sure to sign up for the Spaced Out Forum for free. Maybe you have a psychic question. Drop in and say hi to Catherine in Cat's Corner. spacedoutradio.com, your 24-hour source for UFOs, ghosts, conspiracies, and more. Check it out today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
This is Patrick Webster Small, and I'm going to bring you the Webster Phenomena right here on Spaced Out Radio, Monday nights, at 8 p.m. Pacific Time. Every week I'm going to bring you the freshest information on the globe. I'm bringing you guys the truth, extraterrestrials in the sky, prophecy, chemtrails, rainbow spot, the seventh angel, biblical skies, ancient gods, ghosts, spirits, see it, hear it. So let's do this every Monday night. I'll see you back here at 8 p.m. Pacific Time.
The AZ UFO Show on the Spaced Out Radio Network flies every Sunday night. To reach host Rich Giordano, you can email him at theazufoshow@gmail.com or on Twitter at CNUFOS. Now, back to the show with Rich Giordano.
All right. And we are back here on the AZ UFO Show. Yeah, before we went to break, I was saying we're going to talk about Bigfoot and stuff and creatures that fly around our skies or walk in our planet. But I was talking about this UFO shines light in my face and causes power outage video. So I did find it, posted it in the chat room. And it's funny how you remember some things and you forget some things. And when I made this video, I gave a pretty good description of what happened to me. And I want to go over this because if anybody wants to see this video, go to the YouTube channel, and you'll have to put it in the search engine at YouTube, not in your search engine for your browser, but the YouTube search engine. Type in the letters CN. All right, I'll do it phonetically. C as in cat, N as in Nancy, U as in umbrella, F as in Frank, O as in octagon, S as in Sally. CN UFOs. So I say, what you were about to see is possibly one of the most exciting videos of a UFO flying over my backyard and shining its lights down, not once, but twice. Then I say the first time the UFO flies overhead, you will see its lights hitting the top of the big tree in the yard. But the amazing thing is that the electricity was knocked out for roughly 30 seconds, which I remembered it happening and was kind of scary. And my wife at the time was like, "Why? Where are you?" Ugh. All right, so then continue now. And then the next thing I say is, now I'm not as sure about what really happened, but in the second flyover, I think the craft just appeared overhead and then took off as if coming through a portal and seeing me there with camera in my hand. People have seen this, dismissed this as ball lightning or just lightning from the storm 40 miles away, which is significantly further. There's no way it was ball lightning. Oh, God, I hate people. It was windy, but the sky was clear overhead, which it was. The storm never, ever made it my way. And the weird thing is that when you see these lights appear, you can see the wind really gusting almost violently, as if the objects caused more wind to be kicked up. And one more thing I have to tell you. Approximately 2 months after experiencing this event, I started having dreams of UFOs, which I did. Not only did I have them when I was younger, but years later, 30 years later almost, about 26 years later, started having dreams of UFOs and other strange things I don't want to discuss. Then about 8 months after the dreams happened, I witnessed 2 small UFOs over my house, which turned out to be the very first triangle I ever taped. I didn't know there was a third object following, but it's pretty cool. It was at this time I seriously got into studying UFOs and started my research and became who I am today as a researcher. And I believe it was this June 29th UFO light event that propelled me into doing the research I do today. I hate to say it, but maybe something happened to me when the light was directed right on to me. You know, I'm thinking maybe I was abducted. It's possible. Doubtful, but it is possible. Maybe they chose me. I put on here, and it is embarrassing to read that part, but it's possible. And back in the day, I would never say they chose me, but other people made that comment. Well, maybe they chose you. Maybe they did. I don't know how it works, guys. I just report what I see, and I tell the truth. And whatever happens out of that truth or the story is just of who I am. I mean, I'm telling you exactly what happened. And this story is exactly what happened. It was the craziest thing. I wasn't even out there in the backyard looking for UFOs. I wasn't into it. I was a storm chaser. At the end of my career as a storm chaser, after losing 2 vehicles in one summer's monsoon weather, it was time for me to quit that storm chasing. And in fact, I lost my cameras and everything. So I borrowed my sister's camera. There was storms in the background. I said, let me see how this camera works. It had night vision, and I was out there. And all right, let me tell you what just happened. It's still happening. I just, like, my hearing stopped, and my right ear started getting this loud tone. You ever take a hearing test and you hear the tones? Well, this one was a high-pitched tone, which my hearing was cut out for a moment. It's like I had water clogged in my ear. But it hurt for a second. Now it's gone, and my hearing's coming back. Very strange that happened just now while I'm talking about this on the show. Very strange. See, and that's the thing. That's the thing I hate about ufology. Aliens, paranormal. I could actually take what just happened to me right now and say, oh my God. And this is what a lot of fakers do. They say, oh my God, the aliens just made contact with me. And they give you this bullshit story. Oh, I'm hearing voices from chlamydia. Chlamydia is on the planet Plutoria. And it's out there by vagina, And next thing you know, chlamydia is telling me, oh, no, the aliens are coming. Oh, they're going to be here in 2021. Oh. And then I make up this fake story, and then people catch on to it, and they said, oh, Rich Giordano, he got contacted while doing his UFO show while talking about the first time he saw a UFO on tape. It's really happening. No, it's not. I'll tell you what I think just happened, and you tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if it ever happened to you. Tell yourself it happened to you. I don't give a shit. I put my head down as I'm doing the show, and maybe there was fluid in my ear, and it moved, and it caused my hearing to go out on the right side, and it made the pressure, the high pressure in my ear, pushed against my eardrum and made that noise. That's what the logical thing is, because that's what it probably is. But I just stopped here and told you what happened. This is why ufology has reached its peak. Because there are people out there who take their dreams that aren't real, and they take their weird things that happen to them, and they go, oh, maybe it was aliens. Oh, maybe they were contacting Rich. Rich, you're being contacted. That's how it is. That's how it always starts. Oh, no, they get you. No, they tagged you. Yeah, that's what they did. They tagged you. They tagged you. You're just another piece of cattle to the aliens, Rich. They tagged you, and they turned on the frequency, and now they're watching you because they don't like what you're saying. That's how it is, right? They don't like what you're saying. You better be careful. Those aliens, they'll take you out. Yeah. Meanwhile, I have bad health. I'm a diabetic. I eat like shit. I sleep like shit. I work too much. I could die tonight. And people, oh, he died because he said he was going to die. The aliens killed him. Yeah, I'm one stupid guy in the middle of Arizona that is just talking about nothing, really. Anyway, back to the video. I just had to bring that up because that's how people are tricking people. But this video, and then I go back to trying to tell you, this video is real UFO, right? How does this happen? Why does this work? I don't know, and I don't understand it. But I can only tell you what I know. So I videotaped this thing. It shined the light in my eyes. In the beginning of the video, I'm watching the trees blow in the wind. I focus in, and then this really bright light. Looks like if you pause it at the 2:09 mark on the video, if you're following, you can actually see what looks like a spotlight shining down on the tree in my backyard. And it doesn't shine it doesn't light up the whole yard. It just shines like a perfect, bright-ass beam. I mean, we're talking about 100,000 lumens. You know what I mean? I mean, it's really shining down on this tree. So if you pass by, now the power went out and I'm screaming something in the background. Now the second time it comes around. Now when I did this video, I actually did a frame-by-frame for you. So you can see the object appearing behind the tree and lighting up the house. And I go frame by frame. At 2:31, I say the UFO makes a humming noise, which I never heard until years later, like a few years ago. And you can see how bright this light is. It's a trip. It's a trip, man. And then I scream a little bit, said, oh, it just shined in my eyes. Now, how can lightning just shine in your eyes? It doesn't do that. It flashes, and it's blue. And now, when you watch this video, remember one thing. I have it on night vision because I was just taping at night. I didn't expect anything to happen. Nobody ever does, really. People want things to happen. But I say, yeah, the power went out for the second time. And then I remember I walked down the street, and I saw these lights flashing like an emergency vehicle. And within minutes, they had an emergency vehicle down the road dealing with a transformer that blew. And it was sparkling. Sparkles everywhere. It was like Christmas or 4th of July. It was. So that's what happened with that video. Whatever happened, I don't know. But it was a pretty ironic thing that right after, a month later, after I videotaped this thing and forgot about it, I got into ufology. People make up stories. They just don't care. Anyway, it's what happened. But I know what happened. There's no way I can prove it to you unless you want to visit me. And we can look at the video together on a real slide, on a real videotape thing, a real analyzer. If you want to do that, I've got the equipment to do it. So frame by frame. Anyway, so I see these videos out there, and I just know in my mind that ufology has gone to the wayside for me in a way that I don't really care as much as I do about the videos anymore. I just care that people are not trying to scam other people now, and I'm going to be a real dick about it, like I used to be. And then you got these people who videotape supposed big feet, Bigfoots. And also on the Roundtable show, we talked about Bigfoot. Do you believe it's real was one of the questions. And I want to say, yeah, I do believe Bigfoot is real. You know, just recently, I think it was 2012 or somewhere in the beginning of the second decade of the 2000s, they just found a whole new gorilla clan that they didn't even know existed of some 1,200, 12,000? It's a lot of gorillas. A new species of gorilla. So if we never found that before until now, and Bigfoot, man alive, Bigfoot comes in all different shapes and sizes, all the way to little big feet children, to you got the ones that are up north that they call, what do they call them? The snow apes? What do they call? Joey, where'd you go? What do they call the ones that are up north? Platypus? No. Big white hairy ones. You know what I'm talking about. So they got the Bigfoot, not Yeti. Yeti's abdominal snowman. Abdominal. What is it? The abominable snowman. The abdominal. He's got abs. He's got abs like Jesus. There you go. There you go. You like that one there? So these people who videotape. Now, do you think Bigfoot could be a demon? Some people think so, but I don't. I think Bigfoot is an alien. I think Bigfoot has the ability to cloak himself. And there are species that can do that in the ocean, and there are, like the chameleon, that can cloak itself. Chameleon, the lizard, the geckos, they can cloak themselves to look like a branch or a leaf or bark on a tree. Wherever their environment is, they have the ability to change their skin. I believe Bigfoot has the same ability. Well, the reason I think so, good question, is because people have been staring at them, right? And they hear them, but they don't see them. They can be staring at one, turn their head for a minute, look back, and it's gone. Gotta be. I mean, Bigfoot is not just sitting there in the open and then just jumps behind a tree. I'm sure they hide behind trees. But I don't think it's that, because you would hear the rustling of the leaves, the branches crackling. People say they're looking right at it, blink their eyes, and it's gone. I don't know. Maybe it's some sort of weapon. I don't know. But I believe Bigfoot is real. I do. People have shot Bigfoot before, as there's been stories, but there's no evidence. See, here we go again. The paranormal is riddled with evidence, but we dismiss it. Why? Because there's too much. Hello, I can hear you. Why is somebody on Blog Talk Radio listening to my show? Get off my show or mute your phone. I just heard somebody sniffle. Go sniffle on another show. Every show I hear some jerk off in the background, either coughing or sniffling or being a bitch on my show. If you want to listen, come into the chat room. Make your voice be heard. Speak. Pisses me off. I know what I just heard, and I'm marking it. I'm going to re-listen to see if it pops up on the live show. When I record it, when I play it back, I know exactly where that happened. I bet you anything it doesn't show up on your end. It's probably only on my phone. Maybe they're listening on my phone because I called into the show the last 2 weeks, because Skype doesn't work. I hate this shit. You log into Blog Talk Radio and they can listen to your show. And they're jerk-offs about it. They make themselves heard. Because they want you to freak out. This is probably the same dickhead who last week couldn't help me log in. Probably kept hitting denied. Anyway. So, back to what I was talking about before Jerkoff sniffled on my phone, and I heard him earlier too, I just didn't say anything. It just throws me off because I know they have the ability to listen in. I know they do. They've done it before. Years ago when I was having arguments with other hosts who suck, who shouldn't be doing radio shows. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this show. I mean, here I am. I think I'm good enough to be on a Blog Talk Radio. I suck too. Actually, I don't really think I suck that bad. I mean, I can't. I got to get some guests. That's what I need to do. This way we don't get tired of listening to me. That's the problem. People get tired of listening to me. You're going to go somewhere else. Just like Sniffles over here. Joe, that guy came back. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let me go ahead and do this. I was going to pull something up here and talk about it. I lost my train of thought because we were talking about Big Feet, and then Mr. Sniffles came around. Well, people have all this evidence. This evidence they have hair, supposedly fatty tissue, and it's always got some sort of human element in it, or gorilla hair or something, but nothing that you can say, yeah, that's definitely a Bigfoot. This guy, I was just watching this on this other Bigfoot show they have. It said he said he shot a little a Bigfoot, and then shot a little one, like he thinks it was the son of the Bigfoot he shot it in the throat, and he ran over to it and looked it in the eyes and was holding it in his arms, like it was laying on the ground, taking its last breath. And the guy who shot it said, as I looked into its eyes, it had eyes like a human. It had the white around the eyes and then the color and then the pupil. And then he said it was coughing on its last breath. In 10 seconds, it died. So he thought the game warden was coming to get him and his other friend who were hunting. So they covered up the little Bigfoot, and then they drove out of there, covered up with rocks and brush and big tree branches, leaves, everything he could find, covered it up, marked the area where it happened, in case he ever wanted to go back and get the evidence. So they leave, drive home 2.5 hours, don't speak to each other the whole time about it. But then he wound up calling this other guy who's a UFO expert. And then a month or so later, it snowed, and they go back to the location where the Bigfoot was buried. They found it, the location, but the only thing left was some hair and some fat. Yet the Bigfoot was gone. Was it eaten? I mean, why was it gone? How could it be buried and the bones be gone, yet there's some hair there? That was the problem I had with that story. And when the guy tells the story, I mean, it sounds like he's really there telling the story. He's all emotional. I mean, he looks directly at the camera, and it doesn't look like he's lying. Maybe in his eyes he did shoot a Bigfoot, but maybe he shot a kid who was... See, that's another thing. People think that the Bigfoot could be part human, part ape, or part whatever. But there's no evidence. Same thing. And Bigfoot, they put all these cameras around, and they can't find... And no pictures yet. You know, they put the game cameras up. They tie them around the trees, and they cover them up with some branches and shit. And then, you know, if they walk by, it'll take a picture. It detects motion. And all they're getting, out of all these years of doing it, the last 10 years, all they're getting are deer and bear, another game, but they're not getting Bigfoot. Well, maybe Bigfoot has a way of detecting these devices and are avoiding them. Really? All these years? There was a show that was on last week, Bigfoot in America, I think it's called. Oh my God. This show, oh no, it's Gone Missing. And it has to do with all these people in Alaska. Like every year, 5,000 to 6,000 people go missing. And nobody knows why. And there was one story where they did the research on it, right? And the story goes that two climbers who were really good climbers, rock climbers, were out in Alaska, and they were climbing up the mountains. And this was in the late 80s, I believe, 90s, somewhere a decade ago. And the guy's climbing along. His one friend stayed below and set up the tent. And this guy decides he wants to climb up the side of the mountain. It's dark out, and he wants to climb up to the top. So his friend stayed behind, and he goes up and climbs up the side of the mountain. Well, as he's getting higher and higher, he sees a green light. And then the green light moved erratically, like it couldn't have been an airplane or a helicopter, and there was no noise. And this green light, all of a sudden, shot straight up, like in a blink of an eye. So he gets all animated about it because it happened right by him and it lit up the ground and everything. So he gets down to the bottom, goes to look for his friend, and his friend's nowhere to be seen. His gear is there. His friend's gear is there. The rope is all coiled up. His camping gear is all there. His backpack, all that stuff's there. And he's looking around for his friend and calling out to him. He's not in the tent, nowhere to be seen. And his friend went missing. I know, yeah, maybe he murdered his friend, who knows, right? But the way the story goes, supposedly, this guy could have been taken by aliens. So, these researchers of today go to the exact location where they did the investigation, years earlier. They go there, they find the campsite at the bottom of this mountain, and they say, well, maybe a crevice opened in the mountain and he got swallowed by the cracks in the earth because, Alaska is very cold and the ground could crack and there's these fissures that can open up and you could fall straight down and fall down and nobody would know you died and you get crushed. Well, anyway, so they leave and they call a guy who's an expert who says that he can actually make contact with aliens. So they decide to take this guy back up to the mountain where this guy went missing. And they decided, well, if we have this guy with us, whose name is Will, maybe, just maybe, if he can make contact with them, and they know that he's here, maybe the UFOs will come back. So they get back up to the mountain, and they take this guy Will with them, and he has his camera gear. And Will says, and he has a plethora of pictures where he can set his camera up to take a picture every second, and every second, you can see a plane go by or a helicopter or a bird, and every now and then he would capture something really strange that he can't explain. Supposedly he can talk to these aliens or feel them out. So he goes up there, sets his camera up. Now they also go out there and they set up cameras on the trees like they would do for Bigfoot. So they set up these 4 cameras around the perimeter. And they decide to go hiking up a little bit, move around, and all of a sudden these fissions or fissures, I don't know if I'm calling it right, but these cracks in the earth opened up and they weren't there the day before. And then this weird, strange thing appeared out of the ground. You know how lava can fall into the ocean and then just like freeze in its form? Well, this thing came up out of the earth and froze the way it was forming, and it looked like 2 eyes, like a big gray alien head. Very strange, right by the campsite. So there are these weird anomalies that are happening that happened the night before. And when they went back up there, they see these things. So all of a sudden, Will says the aliens know we're here. What? What did you just say? He says, the aliens, they know we're here. So now they're like, oh, good. He can feel them. Maybe they'll show themselves. So the next thing you know, they see a light. And the light was over the mountain, and it was green. And we got to take a break right now, but when we come back from the break, I'll tell you what happened. And then we'll finish off the show with some interesting news. But wait until you hear what happens. It'll blow your mind away. We'll be back in 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
The sky is the limit on Spaced Out Radio. Hi there, this is Dave Scott, host of Spaced Out Radio. Join me live every Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. Pacific, 1 a.m. Eastern for news, reviews, and updates on what's happening in the realms of UFOs, paranormal, supernatural, conspiracy, and more. Find it all at spacedoutradio.com, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Spaced Out Radio. Listen in soon.
Hi there, this is Jim Tyson, host of Spaced Out Weekend. When you've had a busy week and you're just wanting to chill out and relax, how about listening into my show? That's right, Spaced Out Weekend. I focus on the paranormal, the arcane. I even dip into the techie side of things and much, much more. And I would love for you to come in and check it out. Remember, Spaced Out Radio goes 7 days a week. Dave Scott, Monday through Friday, and me, Jim Tyson, rolling through the weekends. I look forward to having you stop by for a listen every Saturday and Sunday night, 1 a.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Pacific, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Want to find out what's coming up on the Spaced Out Radio Network? Go to spacedoutradio.com where you can find our daily list of shows and guests appearing throughout the week. Want to tell us your story? Be sure to sign up for the Spaced Out Forum for free. Maybe you have a psychic question. Drop in and say hi to Catherine in Cat's Corner. spacedoutradio.com, your 24-hour source for UFOs, ghosts, conspiracies, and more. Check it out today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
This is Patrick Webster Small, and I'm going to bring you the Webster Phenomena right here on Spaced Out Radio, Monday night at 8 p.m. Pacific Time. Every week, I'm going to bring you the freshest information on the globe. I'm bringing you guys the truth, extraterrestrials in the sky, prophecy, chemtrails, rainbow spot, the seventh angel, biblical skies, ancient gods, ghosts, spirits, see it, hear it. So let's do this every Monday night. I'll see you back here at 8 p.m. Pacific Time.
The AZ UFO show on the Spaced Out Radio Network flies every Sunday night. To reach host Rich Giordano, you can email him at theazufoshow@gmail.com or on Twitter at CNUFOS. Now, back to the show with Rich Giordano.
And we're back on the AZ UFO show. Yeah, right. I'd like to thank all of you who visited the show tonight. I appreciate it. And all of you who came into the chat room, appreciate it. We got a full house here tonight. I didn't expect that, but I want to thank everybody here. And I was just talking about this TV show called Missing in Alaska, where they do a little investigations, because about 5,000 people a year go missing in Alaska or something like that. It's a real high percentage. The most people per capita go missing in Alaska than any other state every year. So they're doing this investigation where a UFO supposedly abducted this hiker, and his friend was a witness to the UFO. So they go back up to the place. This is some 10 years later or so, maybe 20 years later, and where the guy went missing. And this time the crew goes back, but they bring a guy named Will who says he can communicate with aliens. I don't know what type of communication. I don't know if he's talking to them or if he can feel them. But the impression I got was that he can talk to them and communicate with them. Anyway, so they get up close to their destination, and Will goes, "They're here." And they go, "Well, who's here?" And he goes, "The aliens. They know we're here." And they all look at each other like, "Okay, so you're saying the aliens are here?" And he goes, "Yeah, they know we're here. They know it." So they're doing their investigation. They set up these cameras that are motion detection cameras that they use for like hunting Bigfoot and game and stuff like that. They see a light. Minutes after this guy says they're here, and they see a light, a green ball of light, just like the other guy said he saw when his friend went missing. And they grab their video camera, and this guy Will has a camera that takes pictures every second. So they videotape it, and believe it or not, on the show, they videotape this UFO. And the UFO, seriously, guys, was moving backwards, forwards, and then it took off straight up to the sky. Oh, I take that back. I'm sorry. It shot straight down to the ground. Talk about wild, right? So they go back to their headquarters, wherever that is. They grab the cameras off the trees, the 4 cameras, and 2 of the 4 cameras were frozen over. The other 2 cameras caught the images, and Will's camera caught the image, and the video camera for the TV show caught the image, and they determined by how big the mountains are in the background and how fast it was going, it went 8,000 miles an hour straight to the ground. It blew me away that this was captured. This is the first time I've ever seen anything like this on TV. A real UFO was captured. A real UFO was captured on TV, on this show. Well, it gets better. Because you know how I was saying earlier, I need evidence? We need to see evidence? Well, the video evidence, if that wasn't enough to blow you away, they figured out and triangulated a position where the object went into the ground, behind the mountain. So what do? They grab what do you call those things that can fly, and they've got these 4 little blades on them, and they can hover, and they use them in war now. Well, anyway, they fly this craft, this hovercraft that has a camera on it, and they fly to the place where they think the UFO went, and then they found what looked like a crop circle in the snow, an indentation in the snow in Alaska. They found where the craft went down to the ground. So what do you think happens next? They go there. Oh my God, I am beside myself watching this show. They go to the location. They get the GPS coordinates from the camera, from the little thing they flew over there, and they walk and found it. And they found the impression in the snow. And they showed it on TV. It was 16 feet across. So they took some samples. Not only that, they had a Geiger counter. the Geiger counter showed very high, unhealthy levels of radiation in the circle. Outside of the circle, nothing. So they grabbed samples. They took some samples from the circle, and then they took some samples from 20 feet away where there was no harm done to the snow, and they brought it back, had it analyzed. There's only two places that this evidence could come from. Space is one of them, where this type of radiation can be found. Or underground. And guess what? Those are the two places that people claim aliens live, in space or in the earth, in some deep cavern somewhere. And that's the type of evidence they gathered. It blew me away. It blew me away that they had this evidence of a circle that was made from this UFO, and they caught it on tape, and they saw it with their own eyes, and they got pictures of it. I got to tell you, this show blew me away. I was never jaw-dropped in my life from a TV show about UFOs, ever. Called Missing in Alaska. Take a good look at that show. That blew me away. Wow, so what do you think? I mean, are people being abducted? Is Bigfoot real? And do we have enough evidence, circumstantial evidence, or any evidence at all to claim disclosure? No to that. We don't have enough evidence. Because, you know, if you're going to make the greatest claim of all, the evidence has to be showing a live alien or UFO on TV. Even then, we would still say, that's fake. It ain't nothing there. It's all green screen. Or if Bigfoot was captured, we would still say, it's a guy in a suit. Have you seen Harry and the Hendersons? And are UFOs real? Well, we all know UFOs are real because you can't identify, and that's what UFOs are, unidentified flying objects. That doesn't mean they can't be identified, as I talked about earlier in the first part of the show. You wait long enough, you hold a camera long enough, you do the evidence and research long enough, they may get close enough, prove to you that it's a balloon, a plane, a helicopter, or ET. And the evidence that's on the internet, YouTube, you name it, it's just too much. And even if you have the best UFO evidence, and I think I have some of that, even if you have it, it's not good enough. People are going to say it's fake anyway, so why even bother? Because eventually somebody's going to get the real deal. And did you see the picture that showed up on the internet today, mainly on Facebook, of this light beam coming out of the sky? Have you seen this in Florida? It was on the news. So this guy's in his car, and there's a lot of traffic, and he takes a picture of this beam of light that shoots down from the clouds. I mean, it's just a beam. It looked like a straight beam of light. It didn't go out like a flashlight. It wasn't like a laser, but it was a white beam coming out of the sky through the clouds. And I want to say it's real only because I couldn't figure out how they did it if it was fake. And the reflections in the cars and on the hood of this guy's car shows the reflection of the clouds. And in the clouds, there was this white swirly cloud that sticks out a little bit, and it's on the hood of his car. And the dimensions are right. The reflection looks real. The picture was phenomenal. It was supposedly on Florida News. Take a look at that beam of light if you can, because it's just mind-blowing. And then the fleet video from Mexico was awfully real. Couldn't have been geese. It couldn't have been balloons. The objects were wobbling back and forth as they were moving through the sky. And if you follow one of those objects, it was moving forward and backward, and there was no flapping. There was no string. Even though the video was a little blurry, eventually you'd see the string. You'd see the flapping of a geese. Is geese plural, or is it a goose? You have one goose, but you have many gooses. No, geese, right? It's like fish. Now people say fishes. It used to be that you couldn't say fishes. Remember when you were younger? I don't know how old you people are. But my age, fishes wasn't in the dictionary, and it is now. I don't know. Crazy time, and it's a terrible time for ufology because I think it's peaked. Too many things out there, not enough real stuff. Because that's why disclosure isn't going to happen. Well, Rich, disclosure already happened. It did. Just go on the internet and look at all the video evidence. Oh, God, I hate when people say that. You're going to tell me that this video from third phase of moon is fake? Yes, it is fake. How could it be fake? Look at it. Just take a look at it. Look at it. It's real. Look at it. Look. Fake. Everything third phase of moon does is fake. Even their interviews are fake. Man alive, I feel sorry for ufology. What are we going to do? What's next? That's the question. What's next? How, if somebody posts a video tomorrow, what's next? I mean, the video this guy posted of the UFO fleet, it was blurry. It was done with a cell phone. That ain't going to pass anyone's test because he couldn't zoom in all the way. But I must tell you that I, too, have captured fleet from 2004. Don't ask me why I said that. 2004, in December, I captured a fleet, and the objects were moving, wobbling, and I zoomed in all the way in, clear as day, and they were discs. They were little white objects. They didn't have wings. And they, too, did not have strings. And they formed constellations for us. Yes, that video is somewhere. UFO Chronicles of Rich G on YouTube. Look it up. You'll see it. Bigfoot, humanoids. Now, we're going to keep talking about those things until we see one, right? Well, didn't you hear about that cop who was chased by a humanoid in 2004? Yeah, I remember that. He said it looked just like a witch, and it had eyes that gazed right through him, and it flew, and it hovered right over to his car and crashed into his windshield, and he backed up and got knocked unconscious. What came first, the chicken or the egg? I believe the Mexican people believe way too much in the folklore of UFO existence to believe anyone's story. But it was a cop. Yeah, but it was a Mexican cop. Well, what, he doesn't have any credibility? Yeah. And what about these people who see Bigfoot? Well, I actually believe Bigfoot's real. So even though there's no evidence, for some reason, deep down inside of me, I feel Bigfoot is real. I don't know why. I can't explain it to you. I just have this strange belief in it. I can't explain it. I can't. Anyway, well, that's my explanation on why things will not be, why ufology has peaked. Ufology peaked. MUFON, they have the TV show on. It's very nice. But we're getting into repetitive stuff. Like I was on this website, and this video they put on their website, and it said, leaked UFO video captured by Homeland Security analyzed. And the video is 15 years old. But now we're showing rehashed video. You know? Multiple triangles, UFOs reported low over Alabama. No video. Nothing. And then here in Indonesia, witness videotapes a slow-moving UFO. Have you seen this thing? Have you seen it? In Indonesia? Again, with the cell phone. But it's a 38-second video. And he's videotaping this object. It looks like it's just hovering there, slightly moving. But he does a pretty decent job. And he's pretty far away from it, though, which is annoying. But he never gets close enough to it. And he does a little trickery. If you have an object, let's say a balloon, in the distance, and you have trees that are only 10 feet in front of you, you can step to the right or to the left just a few inches, and it looks like the object that's very far away is moving 1,000 miles an hour. And that's what he did. All he did was take a step to the left and to the right and make it look like it was moving. See what I'm saying? Jakarta, Indonesia. He said he videotaped it on July 17th this year. But it's not real. We don't know. People are trying to fake us all the time. It's just annoying. I'm very annoyed at ufology because we're never going to know the truth. We never will. In our lifetime, we won't. And all they're doing now, because there's not a lot of really good UFO videos popping up that we can actually say is real, they're just bringing up old stuff, rehashing old stories. Yeah, this story that I see here. UFOs are seen worldwide. Came out in June, right? Seen worldwide, and then they show you rehashed UFO videos from last year and this year. And they had this video over Mexico, over some ruins of tube-shaped UFO. It says a UFO cigar visible over castle ruins in Tula, Mexico, from May earlier this year. Have you seen the video? Have you? Have you, Joe? Have you seen it? No. All it is it's a bug. I mean, it's not that hard to figure out. I mean, it's a bug. It just flies through the screen really fast. That's all it is. It's a bug. Or, I mean, you can actually see that it's a bug. It's got wings, for Pete's sake. It's got wings, and they're calling it a UFO. This is why I hate ufology. And I love it. I love the mystery. Don't get me wrong. I've made more mistakes than anybody else, I'm sure of it. That's why I do this. If I don't talk about it, who's going to tell you what's real and what's fake? Nobody. You're going to figure it out for yourself and you have no experience? Give me a break. Chili's UFO files. Again, I'll reiterate that yes, there are UFOs. Yes, we have black box recordings of UFOs being in the same airspace as our planes. We know that's true, but they're just audio. We need reality to come forth. We need it on the news. And you know who runs the news? Yes, the secret government. Government runs the news. Who the hell do you think owns the frickin' channels, NBC, ABC, CBS, and all that, Fox? FBI UFO files from the vault, things you need to know. Give me a break. They say the vault was created in 2011 as a storehouse for commonly requested FBI documents already released under the Freedom of Information Act. If you go to vault.fbi.gov, and from there you can easily search a multitude of topics ranging from counterterrorism to unexplained phenomena. It's all there. You can read it all. Australia's files, they've opened up. Canada's UFO files you can open up and read. And what do they give you? Stories. So what's the next best thing? What do we say? Other than getting them on the news, well, really, the next best thing is you, me, other people with their stories. Although they're the most fouled up stories because people are the worst form of evidence. Our brain can make things look like they are in your mind, but they're not there in reality. It's true. I'm perfect living proof of that. There's just not enough out there, people. Not enough reality. Disclosure is not going to happen in your life. Or mine. And I'm going to die before you because I'm old. I'm telling you. Experiencer survey. Here's one. Experiencer survey expands alien abduction research. Yeah, here's a good one. Alien abduction stories. Well, there are people who are abductees, and they have been abducted, and they see the aliens. Really. But there's no proof, just their story, right? Yeah, just their story. But what a story. If we can, if you put together all these stories, you'd be amazed. It's MUFON's Current Experiencer Questionnaire. It's a screening tool designed to determine what participants have in common with the 50 experiencers who participated in the Martin Stoner Commonalities Among Abduction Experiencers study in 2012. Oh, wow. MUFON Director of Experiencer Research Kathleen Martin said the year-long study obtained quantitative evidence of 23 characteristics and 23 characteristics that experiencers share. We discovered that these 23 characteristics are not common among the general population. Those who complete the questionnaire will be contacted by a member of MUFON's Experiencer Research Team. And you know what? I would love that to happen. I would love to have one of your research team contact me. But what's their experience? Half of these people, or more than half of these people in MUFON, I bet you they have no experience in holding a camera or any experience being abducted. I'm just saying, I don't know. But I know people who are in MUFON, and they never have any experience. Well, they train us to be a good field agent, right? After you pay them, well, it costs money to print up those documents. Yeah, costs money to put your name in a place where everybody else puts their name and just print it up and mail it to you. It says MUFON's Experiencer Research Team, ERT, works with experiencers in several different ways. It is a triage unit. What a choice of frickin' words that is for you MUFON people. Unit designed to assist experiencers in making the choices that are right for them. What? The initial step required to initiate this process is for experiencers to complete the Experiencer Questionnaire. And there's a line through that. Experiencer Questionnaire. The experiencer will be contacted by a member of MUFON's ERT with their questionnaire results. Martin said several options are offered. First, the experiencer might have had an agent. I'm sorry, I keep thinking agent. The experiencer might have had an event and would like to talk about it with someone, but not necessarily report it. The ERT provides a non-judgmental ear. Or second, they might have had an experience that caused trauma and are seeking therapy. The ERT assists experiencers in locating professional therapists if they are requested to do so. The third route is when experiencers who would like to find a support group where they can meet like-minded people and discuss their experiences without fear of judgment or ridicule. And the fourth option is for experiencers who would like to report their event or events. And if these individuals appear to have any physical alien abduction, the ERT member will instruct them on what to expect from an investigation by MUFON. If they'd like to file a formal report, they are directed to go to MUFON's Report a UFO link and fill out the questionnaire on MUFON's case management system, the CMS. They will wait for a MUFON fielding investigator to contact them. It would be nice, right? People always say, well, there's nowhere for me to call. I'm an abductee. I have nowhere to go. Well, now you can call a MUFON ERT who has no experience themselves in the matter. They're just there to report. They have a non-judgmental eye, which is bullshit. Fucking, they're judging you every 2 seconds. Every word you speak, you're being judged. Believe me. It's human nature. That's why I say it. Don't say, well, if you say that, you're going to scare people not to go to MUFON. Well, I don't like MUFON anyway because they don't have the professional people. They have professional people there. But the abundance of researchers and people that work for them or are working for them, and they don't get paid, but these field agents, they're no different than you. I would say you or me, but I'm not you. I have experience. I could be a MUFON member very easily. I choose not to because I don't like MUFON. I don't like that they charge you to be a member. I think if you're going to do the research, MUFON should get their own funding, their own way of making money instead of asking you for X amount of dollars to become a member. My opinion. It's what I feel. Anyway, I got to take a break. Caller, we'll be right back. Hold on. I'll be back in 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
The sky is the limit on Spaced Out Radio. Hi there, this is Dave Scott, host of Spaced Out Radio. Join me live every Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. Pacific, 1 a.m. Eastern for news, reviews, and updates on what's happening in the realms of UFOs, paranormal, supernatural, conspiracy, and more. Find it all at spacedoutradio.com, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Spaced Out Radio. Listen in soon.
Hi there, this is Jim Tyson, host of Spaced Out Weekend. When you've had a busy week and you're just wanting to chill out and relax, how about listening into my show? That's right, Spaced Out Weekend. I focus on the paranormal, the arcane. I even dip into the techie side of things and much, much more. And I would love for you to come in and check it out. Remember, Spaced Out Radio goes 7 days a week. Dave Scott, Monday through Friday, and me, Jim Tyson, rolling through the weekends. I look forward to having you stop by for a listen every Saturday and Sunday night, 1 a.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Pacific, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Want to find out what's coming up on the Spaced Out Radio Network? Go to spacedoutradio.com where you can find our daily list of shows and guests appearing throughout the week. Want to tell us your story? Be sure to sign up for the Spaced Out Forum for free. Maybe you have a psychic question. Drop in and say hi to Catherine in Cat's Corner. spacedoutradio.com, your 24-hour source for UFOs, ghosts, conspiracies, and more. Check it out today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
This is Patrick Webster Small, and I'm going to bring you the Webster Phenomena right here on Spaced Out Radio, Monday night at 8 p.m. Pacific Time. Every week, I'm going to bring you the freshest information on the globe. I'm bringing you guys the truth, extraterrestrials in the sky, prophecy, chemtrails, rainbow spot, the seventh angel, biblical skies, ancient gods, ghosts, spirits, see it, hear it. So let's do this every Monday night. I'll see you back here at 8 p.m. Pacific Time.
The AZ UFO show on the Spaced Out Radio Network flies every Sunday night. To reach host Rich Giordano, you can email him at theazufoshow@gmail.com or on Twitter at CNUFOS. Now, back to the show with Rich Giordano.
And we're back on the AZ UFO show right here on spacedoutradio.com and blogdogradio.com. Sunday night, we've got about 22 minutes left on the show, quote unquote. And I was talking about MUFON, how I hate them because they ask for money. And earlier in the show, the show was centered around, ufology. It's peaked. I mean, what's next? And every video you see on the internet, you can claim all you want it's real. I've been there before and had the real shit myself. People tell me it's fake. I know it hurts, but this is where we're at. We've peaked in ufology. And MUFON ain't helping, especially with their little TV show, Hangar One, which isn't too bad, I have to admit. I don't mind watching it. But when you see people talking about things that they really don't know anything about other than just reading it, just makes me frustrated. And on the line, we have one of our most famous callers. We have Paranormal 101, the Oneness. How goes, Chief?
Peace to the gods.
peace to the God, to the peace to the devil, peace in between, and that's not level. I don't know what that means.
Indeed.
But, right? I mean, where does ufology go? I believe we are at a standstill, that not much is being done other than throwing more TV shows up there and seeing which one people like. But what's your take on that?
Well, I wanted to start off with agreeing with you. You know, a lot of people listening in, they're agreeing, they're nodding their head. I'm sure about it, you know, because you're not the one jumping on the bandwagon and believing in everything you see. So the listeners are taking heed, I'm sure, and I appreciate it, man. That's why I had to call in and show a little love.
Well, that I appreciate. And I can hear everybody's heads nodding. I hear it. You're right. People are in agreement with it. But with all these videos that we see every day, how do we know what's real and what's fake? We don't. So what is ufology supposed to do? Because they keep saying disclosure is coming. They've been saying it for 10 years, and it's not getting any closer. But, I mean, what do you think can be the next thing? I mean, what would have to happen for you and me to say, finally, they're here? What do you think it would take?
Well, we have to define the word exposure here.
Overexposure, underexposure, or exposure? Of being exposed, of getting too much exposure. I don't know. I mean, exposure is a pretty broad term, right?
So basically, if supposed UFOs being captured is part of the exposure, similar to an analogy of a camera, the shot has definitely been taken already. You know, so you mentioned it. It's a cliche now, but the exposure is there. You know, what else are people asking for besides seeing that figure, seeing the being? Nice one. I like that. Seeing the being. Right. You know, that's what they want. Really.
Well, no. That's not what they want. That's what they need.
Yes. Nice. I like that.
Because we got the want already. But now we need the need. Because without the need, what's next after that? I need to see this to know what I'm seeing is real. I see the video.
You notice how I boiled down the point there, Rich.
Sure.
You know, that's what the listeners must do as well. I won't use the word must, but hey, you got to do it. You know, let's get to the boiling point here. What do we have left over? And there is evidence. You know, in these new footage you posted, Rich, very intriguing.
Yeah, of course it is, but it could just as well be anything. You know, the videos that anybody's posting, like today, you and I saw the video of the fleet of birds or balloons, but I say it does look like a legitimate UFO fleet. Hence, there are a lot of them up there, like over 100, maybe 200 of these white dots.
We've seen enough flocks. We've seen them dance, and they don't move like that. They all move in unison, sort of like fish. All right? So that's debunked off the bat, because if you look at it, everything looks very random. And to me, it looks, if you want me to define what that is, that's what in Star Wars they call the midi-chlorians. You know, that's the first thing that came to me, the way they moved. And that's one of the deepest subjects in the movie Star Wars. You know, nobody asked that question. What is that? That, I believe, who knows? I'm not a Star Wars geek like that. I love the movie. But in my opinion, that is what I always term the ethers. You know, these are ethereal beings, etheric, whatever you want to term them, light beings, I like to call them. Because this is what we see. They are light, you know. It's a light being because it's moving. It has some type of consciousness. Because things don't move as random as we've seen them move, like these flock videos. And it's very strange to me. It sort of looks like that effect when you rub your eyes too hard.
Oh, yeah, and you see the sparks. Those sparkles,
and you just see these little sparks. What the hell? And that's what it looks like to me. I don't know what the listeners are thinking. I'm sure they're tripping out with us, but it's definitely something to visualize yourself. You got to look at that video.
And the good thing about the video, and the bad thing at the same time, but the fact that it did come from Mexico, where the UFOs have been, as ancient alien theorists suggest, visited many, many times, helped build a lot of those thousands and thousands of pyramids out there, supposedly
Great
done
point.
from. And
point.
we get a lot of these UFO fleets from Mexico, and once in a while they come up to where I live in Arizona, because there's only been one other place where the UFOs have visited on a regular basis other than Mexico, and it is Arizona. We have a mountain called the Estrella Mountains, and that means mountain to the stars, mountain of the stars.
And do you not border Mexico?
Right.
Exactly.
And I captured 3
the
UFO fleets on video. I guess you could say yes, because it is a desert over here, and the Hohokam definitely made note of it, that the spiritual light beings were here, and they called them the Kokopelli, and the Kokopelli is known, that word means trickster. Hence my humanoid video, which I captured in 2005, of what looks exactly like a Kokopelli in a couple of scenes, and a lot of people are saying that I faked it.
Please tell me the title is that, Rich. Please tell me that's the title.
No, it's not. It's called humanoid
you gotta
video, and I left
retitle
it
that
that
one.
way. Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. I totally know what you're talking about. We're basically from the same place. We're only a couple 100 miles apart. It's like it's desert over here. We're on the West Coast. It's desert. It's all connected. There's nothing really separating us. Come on. It's like you're getting, like I said, you're sort of getting the runoff of what's coming north of Mexico. They're going upwards.
Well, I think they're following the Earth's grid. What do they call the lines?
The
what
pole.
are those lines called?
Meridians.
Not the meridian, but also there's another thing they call
the ley
those
lines.
lines. Yes,
the ley lines.
Which is,
and for people
White
that
Roswell.
don't know, those are energetic power points, which are like grids, as Rich said. And there's a lot of implication behind that, and that's really what people were dowsing for, if you ask me.
Right. You're right. That's right. That's
so
what they were. And that's
going back to Mexico, you got to believe, as Rich was alluding to, these pyramids are built on these energetic power points, these energetic ley lines, and this is why, or this is maybe why, the UFOs are coming over there, and they are definitely inspecting what's going on or keeping track.
And also, it's like a homing device for them. They can find their way around the planet real easy. They know what these ley lines, the power that's in the earth is putting out. And I don't know, but these pyramids that were built all around the world around the same time, with impossibilities of how they were built, I believe that they were used as power sources, maybe a power plant or powered the planet. Who knows what they used them for? But the pyramid at Giza was supposedly some sort of quote-unquote nuclear reactor for them back in the day. I believe it is. There's no writings. It's not a tomb for a king, because there's no writings inside. There's no epitaph. There's nothing in there in the pyramid. But they have these strange little tunnels and these strange little waterways that were supposedly powering the power plant or the pyramid. Very strange. And a couple of these little holes, if you go back 10,500 years ago, perfectly aligned with Orion. the constellation. And if you look at
my hometown.
My hometown as well. I feel it.
You know it. We are all gravitating to each other. But I know what you're talking about, because those little holes, those square holes in the pyramid, you got to ask why they're there, because a human cannot fit through those holes. And then there's rooms on the other side of these holes. Okay? And this goes back to my theory of light being. This is the only way you can travel through that pyramid. But that's highly speculation, you know.
Right.
Straight
right.
up. But you got to think, why were these, or maybe in the afterlife. That's even a better guess. You know, in the afterlife, you come back as this light being and you're able to go through these different channels.
Well, you know, if the light beings came down and interacted with man and told them how they can travel, well, maybe they built those holes thinking that when they die too, they can travel just like them. It may be all, like you said, speculative, but maybe as a human, you know, we think that we can be like the light beings and made those holes, maybe because we thought we could, or maybe we can. I mean, there's people who say they remember being born. They remember being in the womb. There were children that said they talked to God, quote unquote, and God said, where do you want to go? And the children picked the mothers that they wanted to go to, and that was the spark of life, the all-spark that made our soul.
Well, you see, this comes from Buddhism. This is really Buddhism, Rich. You know, to a T, the way you explain it. You know, this is what is actually taught in Buddhism. And if you ask me, it's a 4,000-year-old philosophy. It's not a religion. And if you study Buddhism, it takes you that much closer to figuring out the mysteries of the world. I'll tell you that. If I study Buddhism, I'm every religion, because you must study every religion to crack the code. That is the secret.
There's so many religions, though.
That's what makes it interesting. You know, if it was easy, everybody would be ascending. Everybody would know what that pyramid is for.
You know, it's just really strange. Now, you remember the Phoenix Lights? Of course, you probably do, because I talk about it. It happened in March 13th, 1997. A legitimate UFO, about a mile wide, flew over Phoenix. Flew over from Kingman, Arizona, all the way to Tucson. And just recently, in February, the video just came out a few months ago, but in February 3rd this year, the Phoenix Lights came back. And with the video vengeance like you wouldn't believe, bro. You should go online, type in Phoenix Lights 2015 and look it up when you can. It is one of the best UFO videos I've ever seen. And it didn't even make it to the news. People aren't even talking about it. It's like, it's the best UFO. And this is why I think UFO has come to a standstill. It's something as big as that flying over our city again. Well, it flew outside the city this time, but still, the video was there's two videos. One of them was
it shows you how quick a politician can debunk a video.
Yeah, that's true, right?
BS, man. Total BS.
But I'm just curious. I mean, these videos that have been coming out lately, to me, look really good. And the strange thing is, and I've never said this before, I've always said every year, somebody's always making some prediction. This is the year, they're coming. Well, I feel that next year is going to be some sort of event that's going to bring us a step closer, like the Phoenix Lights did, and then something big next year. I just got this weird feeling. I don't know, but it's just me. And I never say that.
It's a good thing.
We'll see what happens. I don't know. We've got these videos, and the thing is, I think that's how the plan is supposed to happen. We're supposed to get so diluted, and everything that is on TV, it's all part of the plan. It's to get us to fall asleep as to the reality of what's going to happen. Ooh, convoluted. One of my favorite words. Very good.
Delusional. But not even, let's take it even further. Just insane. Okay, and what you touched on, Rich, you gotta think it's the religious minded. Okay, because all of the different religions have a story about bringing back the gods, bringing back the force, basically, and or let's say the wrath. Perfect. The wrath. That's where that topic comes from. So the wrath. Who knows if it's coming? But it's came upon this earth before.
It has. That's what's so wild about it. It's gonna happen again. But man, alive, we're just gonna be asleep at the wheel when it does. I'm afraid. Or, I don't know. I believe everything comes in steps, like baby steps. They show us a little more, then they lift the curtain up a little more, and then eventually the curtain just gets pulled right up. And then we're sitting there like, what the hell's going on? Is that real? Is it fake? And next thing you know, it's too late. I don't know.
Let's go back to the Tower of Babel.
Okay.
And a lot of religious-minded people would say that actually brought down the angels, or the workers of God. That's what brought them back down. But it was disaster. And that building of the Tower of Babel was basically a theory of getting closer to God, in order to have that direct connection, if you ask me. But if we all know, if everybody out there does their research, we all know what happened to Babylon. It was destroyed. So, I think this is what the religious are trying to do. They're trying to bring back their messiahs any way they have to. And where are they going to come back from? The heavens, the sky. So everybody's looking up at the sky again, waiting for their Messiah. They're trying to bring back their Messiah because it's in the scriptures, and that's the scary thing. Ponder that. That's very scary that every religion is trying to bring back their Messiah by brimstone or however they need to do it. That as long as they could bring them back and see them once, they don't care if they're flash frozen, if they're, cooked to a, crisp. They don't care. They just want to see their Messiah. And that is very strange to me. Is it brainwashing? Are people that brainwashed? They want to see their creator that badly, even if it's for 1 second? This is what's happening. Okay, let's harken back to the movie Contact. All right? So it's been going on since then. And they just put that in the big screen to show you what is going on between science and religion. And religion does not want this to happen, does not want the exposure of aliens and light beings and metaphysics and quantum mechanics and everything, the Higgs boson particle. And the same reason good old Chadwick called you.
Hey, wait a minute. He called tonight.
Exactly. That's why I mentioned it. I was listening. I had to give him a shout out. Good old Chadwick.
Well, then he hung up, and I was about to bring him on. He hung up. But,
I was sort of irritated by him calling into your show and pretending like he doesn't know your name, Rich.
Oh, I was thinking the same thing.
That's very disrespectful, if you ask me.
Because he's called in a lot.
Exactly. Are you a grown man? Is your memory that bad? If your memory is that bad, you shouldn't be calling in radio shows. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he called into a lot of them, he said, I remember once. And it's very possible because he was surprised I remembered him. As soon as he said Chad, and I believe it or not, how many people do I talk to? I remembered his phone number, and I don't even have it written down when I saw him calling in. That's why I picked up. I knew it was him. And he said, "Oh, it's Chad." I'm like, Chadwick. Because that's what he called himself the first time.
You know Chadwick. What? I'll take that back. Because as you stated, he must be calling that many shows.
And I haven't been on in over a long time. A year and a half since he called in. That's a long time. But how do you forget the AZ UFO show? He knows the AZ UFO show. He's got it written down somewhere.
Exactly.
Anyway.
In his Rolodex.
Well, sadly, we're coming up on the last second of our show, so next week I'll have to think of something we can talk about for the last part of the show. Maybe, let's do that. Religion and ufology. That's what we'll talk about. Maybe we'll continue where we left off. I'll leave that segment open.
Definitely got the juice.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. I have a really good show for next week, so this will be good. Man, I'm glad you called in. Thank you so much. Always,
for sure, bro.
Always a good mind meld when you call in.
Indeed.
So, that's it for the show tonight. So next week, Sunday, at the same time, 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern, we will be back live on the AZ UFO show with me, your host, Rich Giordano, and hopefully the P101 Oneness will call back. And if Chadwick wants to call back, next week would be the show, because I am going to figure a way we'll do a show about religion and the gods of alien world, UFOs and aliens and God. All right, so next week it is. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Everybody, have a great week. Till next time, adios. Adios.
Peace.
Peace.